Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Seow. I'm from Macrolink, Malaysia. Well, I'm honored to be here today to share with everyone about why my company chose Medini to develop instead of any other places in Malaysia. First and foremost, who is Macrolink? Okay, Macrolink is actually a China conglomerate. But our history is more than that. We actually started in Malaysia back in 1990. Our founder, together with his Malaysian partners, started the company in KL. And actually, the company, for the first 2 years, we were in the trading business. And in 1992, the business operation actually went back to China. And since then, after many years, after 25 years of its incorporations, we actually has grown into a very big company. Okay, you can see that from the on the slide. This is our last year's achievement. We actually achieved a group revenue of almost 9.1 billion US dollar. And our group also, after 25 years, we also been listed as one of the top 500 Chinese enterprise and top 100 Chinese private enterprise for 10 consecutive years. As of Q2 2015, the total asset of the group actually has surpassed almost 50 billion RMB or US dollar 8 billion. Like I mentioned, we are a conglomerate, so our interest is not just in property development. We actually venture into oil and gas, mining, chemical, ceramic, winery and liquor, and also financial investment. And of course, there are many other sectors that we are in. So far, after 25 years, we actually has owns over 80 subsidiaries, together with 13 Chinese well-known brands. We also control 6 listed company. Actually, it's not 5, it's 6 listed company, and has over 43,000 employees in more than 40 countries. Okay, which is the listed company that we are in? Actually, it's across international. First, of course, our property divisions, which was listed in Shenzhen back in 2011. For chemical production, we listed in Hong Kong. For liquor and winery, we listed in Hong Kong also. For Malaysia, actually, we have one listed company under the name Wang Chen Jituan. And for the mining, we listed in UK, in London Stock Exchange. This is some of the 13 trademarks or brands that we own. Okay, back to this Macrolink Real Estate, or actually, this is our property development divisions. Actually, the business way back to 1992, when our founder returned to China to develop the business. Over the years, we actually has completed more than 100 property developments with a total construction area of over 200 million square feet. Okay, this might be interesting a bit. If you look at if you look at here, on the 5th of January, this is our Macrolink Real Estate stock performance for 2015. The price is 7.35 RMB. And until 14th of August, it's actually recorded at 13.19, which is approximately 79% appreciations. Okay, of course, when I did these slides, it was back in back on the what do you call it, the mid of August. Since then, our prices has gone through a little bit of roller coaster, but we are quite strong. As of last week, our price is stable at not less than 10 renminbi. Okay, for Macrolink Real Estate, we actually started our overseas venture in 2013, with Malaysia being the first destination, followed by Korea, Jeju Island. We acquire approximately 300 acres of land over there. And 2015, we actually are eyeing in Australia and also UK. Okay, since I don't have much time, I will cut short, actually straight away jumping into why we choose Medini. First and foremost, as a foreign developer, in a way, because most of our time actually we developed back in China. When we decided to come back to Malaysia to start off our first project, we found that Medini is the only place in Malaysia that is designed to be the property investors' heaven. Why? Well, in other parts of the Malaysia, well, you always have this, what do you call it, pricing threshold for foreigner. In Medini, there's no such things. You can buy at 500,000 or 600,000 ringgit Malaysia. Okay, so this is something that where other part of in Malaysia that cannot offer to any investors. Secondly, is about the foreign purchase quota. For Medini, again, there's no such quota exists. So the foreign investor can freely to purchase and later to sell. And for the RPGT, the real property gain tax, again, Medini is the only place that so far in Malaysia that didn't impose RPGT for the first owner. So if you are the property investors, I think if you look through all the places in Malaysia, I think this would be the best place lah. Secondly is the connection of Malaysia and Singapore. Okay, when I say the connections, it is much complex than just about the road systems and so on. But we're talking about the relations between the two countries, okay, particularly two cities, okay, in terms of the social economic aspects and the linkage. Just like the old tales of the two cities, Shenzhen and Hong Kong. Now people are talking about the new tales of the two cities, Iskandar or Johor and Singapore. So this is something that when we first look into the opportunity that presented to us to develop in Malaysia, when we saw this, we were quite excited because we've been through the Shenzhen and Hong Kong experience. Okay, this is the fast glance of what happened between Shenzhen and Hong Kong. Everything actually started back in 1990 when the Shenzhens start to open for foreigner only. Okay, and after 25 years, the populations actually have grown from 4.49 million to 10.8 million. Compared to Hong Kong is 6.16 and grown into 7.24. And the most interesting part is the GDP per capita. For Shenzhen, today is 24,000 US dollar, compared to the early days back in 1995, where it's only 1,800. And for Hong Kong also, the GDP per capita has grown 100% almost. And in terms of house price, I don't have the data back in 1995, so sorry for that. What I can share is the house price for today. Averagely, for renminbi per square meter, for Shenzhen is 54,000. Okay, and Hong Kong is still higher than that. which actually Hong Kong is one of the most expensive city to live in, 128,000. So now the million-dollar questions is whether will Singapore and Johor repeat the history of Hong Kong and Shenzhen. My slide here actually is showing the gaps between the cost of living of Singaporean and, let's say, in Johor. Okay, between the two places, the conclusion is that, well, if you want to stay comfortably in Johor as a Singaporean, it only costs you around 2,500. I think that now the ringgit has depreciated, then it will cost you even lesser. As compared to if you enjoy the same standard, it might have to cost you 7,900 Sing dollar per month. So there's a vast difference here. Even you're talking about the house prices now is only 10% or 1/10 of the Singapore property prices back in Johor, even in Medini and in Iskandar. So now with the weaker ringgit, I would say that the gap is even further. It could be less than 8% of the Singapore price. Okay. Here is another indicator as to try to find out the answer whether Singapore and Johor or Malaysia can repeat the history of Shenzhen and Hong Kong. So far, since 2006, Iskandar has actually accumulated a lot of investments. Okay, here show is the biggest investors actually is coming from Singapore. So Singapore will still continue invest in Malaysia, particularly in Iskandar. I think, of course, for many reasons, and these reasons are all valid until today and even for future. And this is the accumulative committed investments. As of to date, it's around 160 B ringgit Malaysia since 2006. Okay, what we try to show here is that so far out of the 160 B, 50% already realized. There is another 50% which is to be realized in the next coming 5 years. So you can see that the investments actually is still putting in, and also that things are coming up. In fact, for the Iskandar development, they are targeting to achieve 383 B investments by 2025. Okay, well, in any investments, we must talk about sustainability. Okay, let's say just now we're sharing that the Iskandar investment, well, since there's a lot of investment, but this investment, what is the distribution between local and foreign? Okay, this chart is showing most of the investments that just now I mentioned actually come from local, that means from Malaysia. So if you have investors still coming from domestic, okay, in a growth area, well, we're talking about sustainable investment, okay? All right. Okay, this is the last indicator. Basically, just now Mr. Ryan Koo has mentioned almost same, talking about populations. Okay, well, whatever growth it is, especially in economics, it must be stimulated by the population goals and so on, So for Greater KL, we are targeting by 2020, 10 million people. Actually, we are on the way. Now it's not mistaken, around 7 million already, 7 to 8 million. And then Singapore aspire to be to have 6.9 million by 2030. This is actually announced in the 2013 government white paper. And in Iskandar itself, which is including the JB area, aim to have 3 million by 2025. And all this together, we're talking about almost 20 million market size. And this is the number 3 reason that why makes us excited when we wanted to invest in Medini, which is the upcoming high-speed rail. Okay, on 5th of May 2015 this year, Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong actually has announced that Jurong East will be the end stations for Singapore. So again, this is a confirmation. It should be a confirmation from government that our high-speed rail will come one day. Okay, it's confirmed because since the earlier announcement, there's been some delay. So I myself, when I speak to some of my customer will sometimes ask me, is this 2020 still valid? Well, no matter it's 2020 or 2022, the most important thing is that this high-speed rail is confirmed and is on the way coming. And when we look at this, we ask ourselves, are we ready for it? Because first and foremost, like just now I mentioned that, from KL to Johor to Singapore, we're talking about 20 million of market size here. And what will link them together eventually is the high-speed rail. Okay, the 350 kilometer connection to a 20 million potential market. I mean, somehow that this has broadened the whole prospect. And let me jump back a bit, my slide. Okay, for Medini, okay, what will Medini benefit from this high-speed rail? Beside on the macro aspect, actually the last station before entering Singapore is confirmed at this Gerbang Nusa Jaya. And Gerbang Nusa Jaya is actually less than 10 minutes away to Medini. So this again gives Medini a distance advantage to benefit from this high-speed rail. Okay. I will say that this is the end of my presentation and my sharing. Well, I hope that you all, after hearing my sharing, understand that when we as a developer or as a company, when we look at the potential of a place, we actually look at the long-term future, especially on the sustainability of the place that we are going to invest, and that's the reason why we choose Medini. Okay, thank you.